counselor with Baylor University. And we have some great information for you today on our statistics program. So with that, I'll go ahead and let our statistics program take it away. But if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or the Q&A, and we can get to those ones at the end.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jeanne Hill, and I'm the undergraduate program director in the Department of Statistical Science. I've been at Baylor University since 2002, so for about 20 years now. When I came, I was in the mathematics department, and I was part of what was called the Graduate Institute of Statistics, and we were a graduate program housed in lots of different areas within the university. And then in 2004, we became our own department, and we introduced our undergraduate major in 2006. So we sort of worked from the PhD down to the bachelor's. And so we have this growing undergraduate program that's been growing over the last 15 years or so that I'd like to talk to you a little bit about today. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about statistics as a profession and as a degree, and then tell you a little bit about the program that we have here at Baylor and why we think it's a great place to be. So first of all, why statistics? So some of you may have come from an undergraduate or from a AP statistics course in high school, or you just maybe were looking at jobs for people that are good in math, or you follow a lot of sports statistics, different things like that. So we all sort of come to statistics from different areas. And that can be said to be true of most statisticians. A lot of us couldn't really figure out what we wanted to be when we grew up. And so we became statisticians, so we could work with a lot of different fields and play in a lot of people's backyards. But we do have some things in common. What we do, we feel like changes the world. We contribute to the world in meaningful ways, helping people answer questions. We have a lot of fun with what we do. We can apply it to our personal passions and our goals. It satisfies our curiosity. We can work on new and novel questions. It's very fulfilling. It's also sometimes pretty lucrative. There's a lot of jobs in statistics. It's one of the fields where there are maybe more job openings than there are people to fill it. So here at the bottom of the slide, I'm not going to open the link, but there's a link here. It's called thisisstatistics.org. And this is a website set up by the American Statistical Association to help recruit people to statistics. And so it's geared toward people like you and toward your parents to learn about careers in statistics and what you need to do to be a statistician, and to see if it's something that you would find fulfilling. There's video interviews with statisticians and a lot of little quizzes and things that you can look at on that website. So what do statisticians do? We do a lot of things. We help companies to answer questions. We help them design experiments, help them analyze the data they collect, either by experimental designs or by observational studies, and help use that analysis to make decisions, to do what we call inferences, to estimate, to decide whether things have changed, to solve complex problems. We have statisticians that work in a variety of fields. They work in pharmaceutical to help improve safety and efficacy of medicines. They work in social sciences and economics to model employment and unemployment, transitions through the labor force. They work in environmental things, studying wind speeds, water quality, solar panels. We work with economists and sports statisticians, work with major sports teams to help them with recruiting players and drafting and to make strategic picks. So there's a lot of options. Almost any passion that you have can be combined with statistics if you also like numbers and also like solving problems. So what skills do you need to be a statistician? So you need mathematical skills. So basic in mathematics, calculus, linear algebra, maybe some other courses in mathematics as well. You need strong computing skills, proficiency with at least one language and maybe a variety of languages, different statistical softwares, comfortable with the computer and with computing tools, databases and data visualization and things like that. You also need a broad breadth of knowledge, scientific knowledge, so that you can communicate with researchers in other fields. We work with chemists, and we work with biologists, and we work with geologists. And so you have to have sort of a base core scientific knowledge to have these discussions. And just a base core of knowledge, and even the social sciences when we work with psychologists and sociologists and other places as well. And lastly, you need written and oral communication skills. You need to be able to write reports over the statistical analysis to communicate what you've done in layman's terms to a technical audience or to a non-technical audience, and then be able to present those orally in committee meetings with your fellow researchers and at presentations and national meetings as well. And maybe I should add to this, you also need to be a good listener. You need to be able to listen to people as they describe their questions that they want to answer, and take what you've learned from what they've said to ask probing questions to figure out the best way to help them get results. Statisticians do not work in a vacuum. We work within teams with other researchers, and so we have to be oriented to both communicate and to listen well to learn things. So you need a lot of hard skills, mathematical skills, computing skills, and a lot of soft skills, the ability to work with other people, to listen and to grow in those things. So statistics is listed. It comes up a lot if you Google best jobs. This was, according to US News and World Report, listed as the #1 best business job. And there's a little quote here. It says, statistics is one of the oldest professions in the world. It dates back to the 1700s. It has a long history, but it ends by saying there's never been a better time to be a statistician. So as data becomes ubiquitous, it's everywhere, right? Your phone collects data, everything we do collects data. And so data is everywhere. And what we need are people with the ability to take that data and make meaningful decisions based on it. So it's a great time to be a statistician. Something also, it is an old profession, and it's a profession that has accepted and encouraged women in it since the very beginning. Women have been a big part of the statistics community as well. So has a great career outlook. There's a predicted to be 33% job growth between 2019, when I found the statistic, and then 2029, and that seems to be on pace. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a 2020 Birch study found that the median salaries range from about $95,000 to $300,000, depending on the where you work, what type of company, be it pharmaceutical or government or medical school, and your years of experience as well. So there's lots of employers of statisticians. If you go to the American Statistical Association website, you can scroll through the job ads and you'll see things from universities to government agencies like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Census Bureau, to pharmaceutical companies like Eli Lilly, to places like Google, Bass Pro Shops, Walt Disney World, things that you wouldn't necessarily think of as connected to statistics, but all of those places hire statisticians. So why statistics at Baylor? What's unique about Baylor? So one thing is Baylor's one of a few Christian universities with a degree in statistics, and our Christian worldview pervades whatever we do. It helps us to teach the ethical principles of data collection and analysis and interpretation. As I said before, data is ubiquitous now. It's collected everywhere we go and everything we do. And so we really need to have a Christian worldview on what we do with that data and how we analyze it and what's appropriate and what's not. Our degree plan also is very flexible. It's got enough hours to easily allow for a secondary major. And we have a few unique options here at statistics as well. We have a couple of concentrations, one in actuarial science that I'll tell you a little bit about, and a new one in sports analytics that we're very excited to introduce this year. And the last thing I want to mention specifically about our overall degree plan is that all of our students do a capstone project their senior year, where they put together everything they've learned in their statistics curriculum to work on analyzing a problem to help people solve a problem. And they do this in sort of a low stakes environment where they can see what it's like to work as a statistician, but without have the pressure of major, company constraints on them. So, and I'll show you some of their capstone projects as we go through our talk here. So a little bit about the majors. This is just sort of a list of courses which may not be too meaningful to you right now. But what I do want to point out is this. So there's there's this 27 hours of statistics that's over here, including the capstone course. And then there's about 3 courses of flexibility that people can tailor to their passions. In addition to that, there's a minimum of 12 hours of mathematics, Calc 1, 2, and 3 through multivariable calculus and linear algebra. And then a computing course. We have a Stat 2450 in-house, or you can do Python within the computer science department, or C++ within the computer science department. And we can anticipate adding different languages and different things to that as well. And then that 8 hours of laboratory science to give us that breadth of knowledge so we can communicate with other researchers. So that's the basic statistics major. And this, like I said, it's 39 hours of statistics and mathematics. And so there's a lot of room for secondary majors. We've had students do biochemistry. We've had students do math. We've had students do political science. So there's a lot of things you can combine with this statistics major, and to do like a double major or several minors or things like that. And then we have the concentration. So the first one I want to talk about is the actuarial science concentration. So I don't know if you're familiar with actuarial science, but it's a really great profession. It's often ranked in the top 10. It's ranked #1 by careercast.com. It has a good salary, good job security. It's one of those places where there's probably more jobs than there are applicants for them, but you have to go through a series of exams to be an actuary. So there's a bar to get over to become an actuary. You don't have to have a particular degree in one field. You do need to have a base knowledge in mathematics, statistics, and some business courses. And so our statistics major with the concentration is a good way to prepare for the first 3 exams. So there's a website here, it's called beanactuary.org. So if you're not sure what actuaries do, or if it's something that you would be interested in, I recommend this as a resource. It has videos with actuaries, what it's like to be an actuary, what kind of problems they work on, and what they do. And then it also has links to the 2 actuarial societies in the US. So there's 2 of them. The Casualty Actuary Society does property and casualty. So they're like your car insurance or crop insurance, things like that. And then the Society of Actuary does life, health, pensions, retirements. And there's several pathways to certification in the Society of Actuaries. There's really just one pathway in the Casualty Actuary Society. If you go to the beanactuary.org, as I said, it has links to both of these. You have to pass a series of exams to be certified. It's generally, I think, 9 exams in the Casualty Society, and I'm not sure about the total number in the Society of Actuaries. 3 exams to get as an undergraduate would be impressive. I generally tell our students that 1 exam will get you an internship, and 2 will generally get you a job. The concentration is set up to get the coursework for the first 3, and that would be a good place to start your career. So we had some students, it's a growing part of our major, and several of our majors are choosing the actuarial science concentration. And this last fall, 3 of our students participated in the UT Dallas actuarial case competition. And this is Jacob Moore and Lily Parker and William Burns. And so this was the first time they had put a team together from here at Baylor, and they actually won first place. And Lily was a first semester freshman when she joined the team. So this is something students can get involved in and do just from the very beginning of their career at Baylor. So we were very excited when they competed, and then they won as well. So the concentration is similar to the major. It's got the hours of statistics, and then the Calc 1 through 3 in linear algebra and the computing. But in addition to that, it has 18 hours of accounting, econ, and finance courses. So you have to have college credit for accounting, micro and macroeconomics, and then corporate finance to get into the certification process for either of the societies. And so this will include that plus upper level coursework to help prepare for the first exams. And then in addition, we have our new concentration in sports analytics. So this was just approved last month. It went through the council chairs, and so it should appear in the catalog next year. And we're very excited about this. We had some of our students create a team, and they competed in a football blitz analytics where they looked at how the Chiefs should play against different teams, or maybe how different teams should play against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they did an analysis. They got to pick the teams that they would play again, and they did a presentation on that. So that was exciting from many of our students. But this is the new concentration. It has 3 new courses in here. The Stat 2300, which we've had for about 2 years. It's an introduction to data science course. 3375, which is a data visualization course geared towards sports, and then a new sports analytics capstone. So I think we'll have a lot of students interested in this. We're excited to put this forth next year as a new option for our students. So we have the bachelor's in statistics, the 2 concentrations, and we have another option called a secondary major in statistics. So at Baylor, you cannot double major across colleges. You couldn't get a BBA in finance and a BS in statistics and double major, or a BFA in clarinet performance and a BS in statistics. And so what we've introduced at the university to deal with that is this idea of a secondary major, where you take the major coursework, say in statistics, but not the general ed requirements in the College of Arts and Sciences, and then you can combine that with your BBA or your BFA or your BSE if you're in education or something like that. So you do the major coursework, so you basically have all of the statistics courses for the degree, but a different general ed common core for your major. We've had several students do this. A lot of the business fellows pick statistics as a secondary major. A few years ago, I had a student named Christina, and she got a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in theater performance, but she was also really good at math and statistics, and so she got a secondary major in statistics to fall back on in case Broadway didn't call. But I think she actually has been very successful in her career. So the other thing I mentioned was our capstone projects. So just to show you a few of these, we have a lot of our capstone students. We have a group currently that are doing this, that work with the biology wetlands lab, and they also have a biology laparoscopic lab, and it's designed to teach undergraduates in biology how to do research. And so these biology students design experiments, and they collect data, and they analyze the data. And so we have capstone students that work as their statistical consultants, and so they consult on a variety of projects. They help these students with the design and with the analysis. And they get to learn about the challenges of communicating as a statistician, and the challenges as part of being a consulting statistician in the sort of low stakes environments. So it's good for the biology students. It's also good for our students, gives them real world experience with what they do. And so we have a lot of students that do this. I have other students that have passions of their own, and they want to tailor their capstone projects toward their passions. One of those students was Jason Maddox, who's finished his PhD and is working as in the sports analytics department at Syracuse University in their academic department. And so he's very interested in sports, and he came to us as an undergraduate, as a first semester freshman, and he worked with several of the sports programs here on campus through his years as an undergraduate. And when he was a senior, he was working with the basketball team, and he did a negative binomial analysis of NCAA tournament success for his capstone project. And so it was a great capstone. It fit with his passions, and helped him parlay that into a future successful career as well. Another one of our students, Amy Razai, worked as a statistical consultant with a professor in religion who was doing a survey on short-term mission trips about who benefits from them. Are they worth the investment? And so she helped him to design his survey and administer it and then analyze it. And then she went with him to a religious conference to present the results of it. So she worked on this project for more than a semester, but it was a very good fit for her passions as well. Another one of our students, Kate Morrissey, came to me in the spring one semester before her senior year and said she wanted to do an unpaid internship. She was basically volunteering for the Texas Organ Sharing Alliance because she was passionate about that. And so she said, could she do that for her capstone? And I said, yeah, that's great. We can do that. So she went to work for them, and she worked there for about 2 weeks, and she was doing some analysis, and she went to her first group meeting, and she gave her presentation. and they were thrilled. They said, "This is wonderful. This is great." And they actually paid her for the rest of the summer. So she went as an unpaid internship and ended up being paid for it. She's gone on to complete a master's in public health, and I believe she still works with the Organ Sharing Alliance. So she was able to combine her capstone with her passion, and also move that into a career. Our students have summer opportunities. We have several students that have gone to the Summer Institute of Biostatistics. These are funded by the National Institutes of Health. They're 6-week long summer programs. They're back in person. I think last year they were virtual, the last 2 years, but they're back in person. They run at several different universities. A lot of our students have gone to Boston University for this, or to the one in Denver, Colorado. They like the places that have cooler weather than Waco. And it's just a great opportunity. This is Hector Castro, graduated about 2 years ago. And he didn't think he would be interested in biostatistics, but he decided to try the summer program, and he found out that it was really a lot more to it than he thought, and found that as a great fit for him. We also here at Baylor have what's called the Data Science Fellows Program. Dr. Mandy Herring has an NSF grant that created our Introduction to Data Science course, our STAT 2300, and it also has a summer component, research, where students look at water and wastewater treatment. And so it was supposed to be in person, but because of COVID, it's run online the last couple of years. Here's the web address for it. You can go to this website and see the kind of problems the students worked on. They work in teams of 3. And they did presentations, so you can watch the YouTube presentations and see the reports that they came up with. So they work with real stakeholders, real water treatment companies, on real world problems that they actually wanted to solve, and they helped them solve these problems. These are both funded. The Mo Water program is funded. The SIBS programs are funded as well. These are some of our students, and just some of the places they have gone. We have about probably, I don't know, 75% of our students go on to graduate school, and about 25% get jobs when they leave. These are some of the companies that they work for. This young woman is Courtney Aiken. She's an actuary with Lincoln Financial. This is Annie Bathan, and she works for KPMG in Dallas. Preston went on to do graduate school in statistics. Teddy is in California working with a financial company. Chris went to the National Institutes of Allergies and Infectious Diseases to do a fellowship before returning to get a PhD as well. So they do a lot of things. They've been very successful, and have opened a lot of interesting job places with their degrees in statistics. So. We also have a relatively new, it's about a year old, joint BS/MS in statistics, where you can complete the bachelor's and the master's for a total of 151 hours. So it cuts off 9 hours that you can count for both. We had one student who's completed this program already. You can apply to admission after completing 90 hours, and we waive the admissions fee for the master's program. It's a really good way, particularly if students come in with a lot of hours, then you can conceivably do this. If you had a lot of dual credit or AP credit, you might be able to do this in 4.5 years, or even 4, to get the joint degree. So that's one of the other new exciting things we have going on. We have several student organizations. We have a sports analytics club that meets weekly. We have a student chapter of the American Statistical Association. There's an R users group in Waco. R is a statistical package or programming language that we use a lot. And then there's the Gamma Iota Sigma for our actual science students. Both the president and the vice president of this are statistics majors. They will underwrite the exams. So if you want to take actuarial exams, they'll actually pay for them if you're a member of Gamma Iota Sigma. So we have students involved in a lot of things. And we have our new Statistical Consulting Center. We hired Dr. Rod Sturdivant to direct this a couple of years ago. And he has projects ranging with people across campus and with companies like Arasti. He has a grant proposal with ESPN, and he has a lot of opportunities for our students to look at research and consulting questions early on in their careers as undergraduates. So that's one of the more exciting things that we have happening now as well. So I think that was kind of quick, but just a little bit about our department and a little bit about our major. And so, Lily, do they have any questions for me?
Yeah, we don't have any questions in the Q&A right now. I know Dr. Sammy has been answering some questions in the chat, but if you do have a question, we do just have a couple minutes left. So if you want to throw one in the Q&A, we can wait just a minute to see if you guys do have any questions.
Sometimes people ask me about study abroad, and I forgot to include that here, but we've had several students that have participated in study abroad. We don't have one specifically in statistics, but it can definitely be worked into the program as well. So I had one student who actually spent a whole year, went to 2 different places, with Spain one year and then maybe Finland one semester as well. So that's an option. And we have students that do honors pieces, so they combine it with the honors college as well. And with BIC, we have students that are involved in BIC and statistics too.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. It sounds like you covered all of the information perfectly. We had no questions from it. So thanks everyone for joining us. If you guys do have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Let us know. And thank you for all that great information on our statistics program. I know that's really helpful. If you guys have any questions, we'll go ahead and let you all jump off before your next session. Have a great rest of your premiere day. And thank you for joining us.